With Paolo Banchero winning this year's NBA Rookie of the Year award, I wanted to rank him against other Rookie of the Years since the year 2000 in the NBA. After the continued support of ranking every NBA MVP since 2000, video hitting 100,000 views, I wanted to make another one for you guys. There were a lot of comments on that video, and I appreciate all of them. I love hearing your guys' rankings, as we all have a different ranking, and I'm sorry that I missed James Harden in that video. No one will be missed in this video. Winning the Rookie of the Year award has a common trend in most seasons. A very bad team gets a rookie who goes out and shoots a lot and puts up great stats, but when we rank them against other players, some may have better counting stats with less efficiency, so there are a lot of variables that go into this. I'm also not going to be ranking players based on how good they are now, I'm just going based off of their rookie seasons and their stats. So with all that being said, let's get right into the list. Starting at number 25, since we did have a tie, there will be 25 players on this list. And at the 25th spot, we have Malcolm Brogdon from 2017. Brogdon's Rookie of the Year award comes in last place on this list, just averaging about 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. There has to be a last place, and this takes the spot, as Brogdon would also average the least amount of points out of any player on this list. If Joel Embiid played more games in this season, he would have easily taken this award, averaging 20 and 8, but still, he only played 31 games. Despite that, he still got 23 first-place votes to Brogdon's 64, despite only playing 31 games, so if we imagine he played 50 games, he probably would have won this award, and with all these factors, and only averaging 10, 3, and 4. At 24, we have Michael Carter-Williams from 2014. Michael Carter-Williams comes into this list with the lowest win share out of any player on this list, even after averaging close to 17, 6, and 6. This Sixers team was absolutely awful, and there's a reason why they only won 19 games this season. At face value, these stats look very good for a rookie, but MCW also had the ability to shoot as much as he wanted to in all of his games, which led to some inflated stats. He also had the worst field goal percentage out of players on this list, and also shot 26% from 3. This is why sometimes the stats don't tell you the full story, as Carter-Williams was allowed to shoot as much as he wanted every night, which led to some good counting stats, but the efficiency and the very low win share, not really helping the team to win at all, is where he gets knocked on this list. At 23, we have Mike Miller from 2001. Miller would go on to have a long NBA career and win 2 championships as a great role player for the second half of his career, but his Rookie of the Year win is ranked low on this list due to his low production and stats, despite playing 29 minutes per game. 12 points, 4 rebounds, and less than 2 assists don't jump off the paper compared to a lot of guys you will see later on this list. Not the worst on the list, but his best years would come the following seasons, especially when he was in Miami to win those championships. At number 22, we have Andrew Wiggins from 2015. Andrew Wiggins is a very interesting NBA player. Drafted to the Cavs with the first overall pick, he would never suit up for the team, as LeBron would go back to his hometown and the team would trade Wiggins and Anthony Bennett to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love. Wiggins would be the face of the team immediately, as they would have 19 players start games for them that season, and Wiggins was pretty much given the reins and allowed to do whatever he wanted to do. He did put up good stats with 17 points, just over 4.5 boards and 2 assists, but the team only won 16 games. The reason I have him higher than MCW is that he put up similar stats on a bad team, but he did it more efficiently than Carter-Williams did, but I could see an argument for the other way around. At 21st overall, we have Emeka Okafor from 2005. Emeka Okafor continues the trend of rookies that got the keys to the franchise and put up a lot of shots their rookie season, leading to some good counting stats. 15 and 11 is great for a rookie, but this team was awful, and the only reason I have Okafor above some of these other guys we've had so far is that he was pretty solid defensively, averaging almost 2 blocks and a steal a game, while averaging a double-double on nearly 45% field goal accuracy. At 20, we have Kevin Durant from 2008. You may find it interesting that one of the greatest players of all time finds his way so low on this list, but 24 and 2, while taking almost double the amount of shots as any of his teammates, is why he's so low. This is where KD became such a great scorer, because he was allowed to shoot with volume as a young player. This Sonics team was also terrible this season, winning only 20 games. If I'm going to carry the narrative that rookies that get every shot on their team on bad teams rank low, I can't make any exceptions for KD just because it's KD, and that's why he's this low on the list. At 19, we have Paolo Banchero from 2023. The reigning Rookie of the Year finds his way to the 19th spot on this list after coming off of a 27-4 season with a Magic team that isn't that bad compared to some of the teams on this list. The problem with Paolo is that he had one of the lowest win shares on this list despite being on a pretty average team compared to the rest, and had one of the worst field goal and three-point percentage on this list and on his team in general. Franz Wagner put in the same amount of field goals per game in fewer attempts, but just didn't get to the line the same as Paolo did. A good year from Paolo, who had flashes, but he still has a lot to work on, especially beyond the arc and putting the ball in efficiently. 18, we have Brandon Roy from 2007. Brandon Roy would put in 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists during this season, and would show flashes of the great player he would become. Though he had to retire at an early age, we never really got to see a full career from Brandon Roy due to his knee problems, and it's sad to see such a great young player who had a good rookie season not be able to have a fully fleshed out career. At 17, we have another Blazers guard in 2013 Rookie of the Year Damian Lillard, who averaged 19 points, just over 6.5 assists, and 3 rebounds per game, while almost getting a full steal too. A great year from a young Damian Lillard. The only thing that kind of holds him back a little bit is his field goal percentage, but it was still about 43%, which is good, but we're getting to the point of the list where there's a lot of good rookies, so it's going to be hard to compare some of these guys, but a great outing from Damian Lillard in his rookie year, as we would see flashes of greatness where he would become an all-time scorer in the NBA. At number 16, we have Derrick Rose from 2009, and he would win this Rookie of the Year award, averaging about 17 points per game, 6.3 assists, and 4 total rebounds, with almost a full steal. These stats, I think, are a little better than Dame's, but I wouldn't be mad if you flip-flop these two. Pretty comparable stats. He did not shoot the ball from 3 very well at 22%, but he averaged less than 1 3 a game, so I'm not very surprised by that. He wouldn't up his three-point shooting until later in his career, towards his MVP season, but he was averaging about 48% from the field overall, which is why he's this high on the list. Great field goal percentage, despite the three-point percentage being so low. At the 15th spot, we have Kyrie Irving from the 2012 season. He would average 18.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, and over a steal a game. This would be the start of a great career for Kyrie Irving, as we all know how his story has played out, hitting one of the clutchest shots in NBA Finals history, and he continues the trend of young guards on this list, coming out of Duke, winning the Rookie of the Year award in 2012. A great season overall from him. In the 14th spot, we have LaMelo Ball from 2021. LaMelo would average near 16, 6, and 6 for the Hornets this season and shot pretty well from the field and from 3 for a rookie. These stats are more impressive when you see that he was the 3rd player on this team in field goal attempts per game, which we don't really see from the rest of the guys on this list. LaMelo would get the keys to the franchise, but at this point, Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier were still the guys, so putting up these stats as a 3rd option is very impressive, especially compared to a lot of these guys who are taking almost double the amount of shots as their next teammate. So great year from LaMelo Ball as the 3rd option. Next up on our list, we have Amar'e Stoudemire from the 2003 season. He would average 13.5 points, close to 9 rebounds per game, and an assist, steal, and block per game. And he would be doing this on a very good field goal percentage from 47% from the field, and would have one of the highest win shares on this list overall. A very underrated player all time, Amar'e Stoudemire would be very solid for most of his career and would go on to be in some All-Star and All-NBA teams, and a very good player overall and a great rookie season. At 12 on our list, we will see Steve Francis, who tied for Rookie of the Year, and we will see his other counterpart later on this list. But for Steve Francis, half of the 2000 MVP, he averaged 18 points per game, 6.6 assists, and 5.3 total rebounds, with almost a steal and a half per game, which is crazy, averaging 44.5% from the field and 34% from 3, which is great from a rookie overall, especially for a guy who was averaging 4 3-pointers per season in the 2000 season too. So overall, a great player, not as high as his counterpart, but we will see him soon on the list. At the 11th spot, we kick it back to a more recent Rookie of the Year, the 2020 Rookie of the Year, Ja Morant, who averaged 18 points per game, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, averaging almost a steal per game too, and he shot 48% from the field and 33% from 3. Ja Morant coming into the league, we saw some huge highlights from him, and we've seen him on the court producing highlights ever since this. Going into the next season, he will be suspended for 25 games to start the season, but looking back on some of these rookie highlights, we need to see Ja Morant back on the court, so hopefully he can figure everything out off the court, as he was one of the best Rookie of the Years that we've seen since 2000, producing some great highlights while also being very efficient from the field. Kicking off the top 10, we have the 2022 NBA Rookie of the Year, Scottie Barnes, who averaged 15 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game, with a steal and close to a block, putting up 49% from the field and 30% from 3, and one of the highest win shares on this list. And he was splitting touches with guys like Siakam and Fred VanVleet, so a similar scenario to LaMelo Ball, but he was splitting touches with an all-NBA player in Pascal Siakam, and a great player who we just saw got a huge extension in Fred VanVleet. So for him to win Rookie of the Year in a year where there were some very solid overall rookies, Scottie Barnes is very high on this list, and I think it is definitely deserving. This was a great rookie year from Scottie Barnes overall, and he showed that he can be a great talent in this league. At the number 9 spot, we have Pau Gasol, who averaged 17.6 points per game, 2 full blocks per game, and 9 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field. I know a lot of people know that Pau Gasol was good, but I think sometimes as NBA fans we forget how good he really was. Coming into the league with these rookie stats is absolutely amazing, and he would just continue to get better in his career and become a huge part of the reason why the Lakers won those 2 championships, being a fantastic running mate with Kobe Bryant. In the 8th spot, like I said, we would see the other half of the 2000 NBA Rookie of the Year, and Elton Brand in this spot, a little bit higher than we saw with Steve Francis. The other half of the tied Rookie of the Years for 2000 lands in the top 10, which is very interesting to look at compared to Steve Francis's win. Elton Brand had 20 and 10 as a rookie, solidifying himself as a double-double machine while he was still splitting touches with Toni Kukoc. It's very interesting to go back in history and look at awards where players were tied, but both of these rookies landed in the top 15, so you really can't complain. I do think if this happened now, maybe Elton Brand, looking at the stats, would get the Rookie of the Year win, but that just might be my opinion. He would get my vote, but I could definitely see the Steve Francis argument, as both of these guys were pretty close on this list. In the 7th spot, we have Karl-Anthony Towns from 2016. Before Cat was known as one of the best big three-point shooters of all time, he was known as one of the best promising big men rookies. 18 points and 10.5 rebounds on 54% from the field and 34% from 3 is the reason why he's so high. He also had one of the highest win shares on this list, helping the Timberwolves almost double their win total from the previous season. He was also the second option behind Andrew Wiggins, who we saw earlier, and the main difference between these two is that Cat had great numbers efficiently while taking less shots. In the 6th spot, we have Chris Paul from 2006. CP3 has the highest win share out of any player on this list, sitting at 10.4, and there are only 3 players sitting at 8 or more. The point guard got his nickname while putting up 16, 5, and 8 in his rookie season. The team also won 20 more games with Chris Paul's addition, as he became their number 1 playmaker, and would show that he was a fantastic scoring and passing guard in the NBA. Kicking off the top 5, we have Tyreke Evans from 2010. Tyreke Evans may be a name that some of you watching have forgotten about by now, but his rookie year is one that you should not forget. 26 and 5 on 46% shooting is one of the best rookie seasons that we have seen, and that's why it's so high. This was a team who still had Kevin Martin and Carl Landry putting up 20 and 18 respectively, and Tyreke Evans inserted himself into that role and thrived. This is an interesting case of a player who peaked after a year. Though he would be very solid for the rest of his career, the expectations after his rookie season would never be met. Averaging 26 and 5 as a rookie and not really progressing throughout his career, he didn't really get worse after his seasons after this, but putting that up in your rookie season, you do have very high expectations, and comparing this to a guy like Ben Simmons, they both didn't really have their expectations met. In the number 4 spot, we have Luka Doncic from 2019. Luka has shown flashes of greatness since he stepped onto the scene in the NBA. The years of experience in the EuroLeague proved to pay off as the young Slovenian averaged 21, 8, and 6 in his rookie campaign on 43% shooting and 34% from downtown. Luka left his mark on the NBA after his rookie season with several 30-point-plus performances and had 8 triple-doubles as a rookie, which is 3rd all-time. This was the beginning of Luka legend as he showed out this season and continues to become a better player and is one of the best young players that we have in the league and one of the best players overall. So it'll be cool to see how he progresses throughout his career as he has the skill set to become an all-time great. Starting off the top 3, we have Ben Simmons from 2018. As a 76ers fan, this one hurts me seeing how good Ben Simmons was at one point. The Sixers would get a fully healthy team out of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and it would not disappoint. Simmons would be injured the year before, but would go out and put up 16, 8, and 8, and almost 2 steals a game as a rookie, showing how versatile he could become. He also became an elite defender from the minute he stepped onto the court, which led this team from 28 wins to 52 wins in just one season. Even looking back now, it's crazy to see Ben Simmons playing great basketball, but when we look back on this in 20 years, it'll be interesting how Simmons' career plays out, as currently he's not even in a rotation on a team that barely made the playoffs. So, at this point, we don't know how Ben Simmons' career will end, but he does have one of the best rookie seasons that we have seen in the modern years. Number 2, we have Blake Griffin from 2011. Griffin will always be remembered for his time in LA with Lob City, and this is where he started. 22.5 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists for a rookie is insane and put him in the MVP conversation, finishing tied for 10th, which is unbelievable to think about for a rookie in the NBA. There's a reason CP3 wanted to go to LA to play with him, and this is where he showed everyone how great he was, having an all-time rookie season. And in the number 1 spot overall, we have LeBron James from 2004. I can see the comments now, everyone waiting for the number 1 spot just to be taken by LeBron James. This one was very tough, as the top 3 were all very fantastic seasons, but who else would be here but LeBron? Coming into the league, he was the chosen one to bring Cleveland back to glory, and he put up 21, 5.5, and 6, and more than doubled Cleveland's win total from the season before, fulfilling his number 1 overall pick hype. We all know his story by now, but this is the season where it all started. And I thank you guys for watching this video. If you've gotten to this point and you watched the whole video, let me know what your list is down below. If you're watching this video too, I'm sure you've watched our MVP rankings. If you haven't though, go watch that now, and hopefully you guys will subscribe to the channel and let me know down below what you would change personally on this list, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.